Welcome to episode 177 of the Reshaping Podcast. This episode dedicated to all the hard work, all the hard work people do, all the hard work time to pay off. It's the easiest week for the teachers who in standard 1, 2, 3, form 1 to 6 and 7, who in first year and second year, but you see the standard 5 people.
Young ladies, they're only working. Young ladies, give a
Voice of the Burning Flames, unmistakable voice of those of the Burning Flames. Right, welcome to episode 177. Welcome back, or welcome if it's your first time listening. An episode dedicated to hard work. I have some songs lined up about some hard work this time because, again, some people do some hard work for all the little young life, 11 years old. And it's time to get the reward of that hard work. So I'm taking a minute quick to wish everybody all the best for the SEA. If you're listening to this after the SEA, congratulations. Congratulations. The exam and the work that you put in, that is when the success comes, right? Don't study the result. You can't control the result. All you could do is what you do up to this point is your consistency, your hard work, your sacrifice, your nerves. All the SEA parents, all their belly feeling. I want to be fun after metric. I want people to take their blood pressure, take their Apple Watch, check all their vitals and things, and see how they're going before all the days leading up to the common entrance and the days that come after the common entrance. I remember my common entrance days, and one of the things I credit to Miss Sinclair, may she rest in peace. One of the things I always credit her for is that she carried me to play cricket the day before common entrance. We play cricket and football whole day in the savannah. And I'm hoping these children now could find a break, you know what I mean? with all the different things that they've done up to this point. It's only so much you could do. And if the day before the exam you could find a way to do a... It's called a brain cooler after the exam. It have any name for a brain cooler before the exam, like just to take a little pause? But anyway, best wishes to everybody who are participating and are looking forward to only having a long vacation and to taking it down. Best wishes to all the standard 5 teachers too. Them teachers and them work hard, and I hoping they themselves could get a long break after this too. You know what I mean? It's time for freedom. As we talk in freedom, I want to say real quick that one of the most important sets of news I've seen for the week, only bear with me a minute, but one of the most important news I've seen is the freedom of the great Adidja Palmer. If we're talking about Trinidad being home for about 4 months worth of vacation, it looked like for all intents and purposes, the great vibes Kartel Adidja Palmer should be home. Now, if you're accustomed listening to this, right, and you like to hear news about Kaiso and Calypso, and you like to hear all them old Kaiso and thing, I encourage you to try to go on YouTube and listen to a few vibes Kartel, you know what I mean? Listen to some Kartel and open up your palate, open up your taste buds, you know what I mean? It's not Kaiso and Soca alone. I had some Kartel line up to play, you know, but I can't play them. In all honesty, I can't play them. It's a lot. There's a lot going on. Kartel is no joke, you know what I mean? But I do want to say that we saw over the last week world news. The man is called himself the world boss. Well, he make world news. I always remember Ninja Man talking about this, right? Ninja Man said there was one point in time he get released from jail, or he get bail at some point in time, and he said the whole of BBC, everybody was there waiting to cover stories about him and get interviews and them kind of things. So he was basically saying, I ain't no Jamaican star, you know what I mean, as an internationally, globally recognized star. And we had to say the same for Kartel now, right? Because Kartel get released from jail. It was covered by BBC, the New York Times, every single blog, when you want to talk about Hollywood Unlocked or Shade Room, TMZ, everybody was covering it, and it's impressive to see how much of an interest the world taken in Kartel trial. But let me read from the New York Times, right? I could do that. I could read from the New York Times. If he was under a rock last week, appeals court overturns Vybz Kartel's murder conviction. The murder conviction of the dancehall artist Vybz Kartel and 3 other co-defendants was overturned on Thursday by the highest court of appeal for Jamaica and the other Commonwealth countries. That is the Privy Council, right? Should be the Caribbean Court of Justice, but still Privy Council, right? Vibes Kartel born Adisha Palmer had previously been convicted and given a life sentence in 2011 for the murder of Clive Williams, known as Lizard. The sentence was later reduced to 32 and a half years. On Thursday, the Judicial Committee at the Privy Council in London overturned the conviction because of allegations of jury misconduct in the 2014 trial. A juror described in court documents as Juror X was allowed to remain seated after a claim that the person had attempted to bribe other members of the jury. Jurors ultimately convicted Mr. Palmer, Sean Campbell, Kahira Jones, and Andre St. John of murder. So if you don't know, Kartel was locked up for several years. They're saying here since 2011. And even before that, right? Before the trial. So maybe 2010, 2009, maybe as early as that. And he went to trial and get a life sentence reduced to 32 and a half years, which at his age is probably a life sentence as well. But it was interesting listening to the overturning of the case. There were so much things went while the case was going on, because the whole world was following the case while it was going on as well, and people had questions about whether Kartel would be found guilty at all or whether he would again mistrial. And I remember this being one of the main issues, that what I heard was that the jury was offered $500,000 bribes. I hope it's 500,000 US, but 500,000 a man, right? I did not realize at the time that it was a juror who was offering the other jury members that. I mean, allegedly, the person, whoever gets to that one juror, trying to get him to overturn the jury. Although my basic understanding, and somebody got to tell me different, to get a life sentence, you don't need all the people to vote like this. You know what I mean? Is it that all the people have to vote that way? And maybe, I guess, the bribe, I was never clear as to whether the bribe was to say Kartel is free or the bribe was to say Kartel guilty. But whatever it is, the case went on, even though there were allegations of this, and even the person who had offered the other jury members bribes apparently remain on the jury council. So what the Privy Council basically saying is that they would overturn the verdict. Their decision is to quash the whole thing, but it has to go back to the Jamaica High Court now to make a decision as to whether they will order a retrial or they will let him free. He should be able to get bail. I hope the bail is under the condition that he can perform in the islands of Trinidad and Tobago. And I shall be there. I'm not missing that. But in the Observer yesterday, I saw Jamaica's Chief Prosecutor, Paula Llewellyn King's counsel, has moved to clarify her actions before the decision made by then Supreme Court Justice Lennox Campbell during their 2014 murder trial of entertainer Vibes Kartel, and is co-accused to continue the matter after he became aware of an attempt to bribe the 12-member jury to acquit the men. All right, so the bribe was to acquit them, right? Clearly that bribe didn't work, right? But I guess it tainted regardless if they offered a bribe or if a juror offered another jury. If I'm in trial for anything and a jury member offered the other jury members a bribe, I want to go home. Send me home. But I was listening to a radio interview with Miss Paula Llewellyn, and she was saying that jury tampering and these types of things pretty standard in her profession, and a lot of times you have to take into consideration how long the trial has been on for, how long the person has been in jail, how was the cost of it. And then she also added that this is a high profile case and you can't just order a retrial for something like murder where the person will still be in jail. I kind of understand where she's coming from, but of course Jamaica and the media seems to be coming down on her. It seems as though you wanted a guilty verdict regardless. But if I have information that the jury is being bribed to say acquit, and I allow the trial to continue, it sounds to me like I run any risk of people getting acquitted who I want to be found guilty. But anyway, this is where we are. She says she's not so sure about releasing him and the retrial and all that. But I feel as if the public pressure that will be put on them now, especially in the case of everything that's happened in the case. For some reason, his lawyer was suspended for a certain amount of time. So much around the case don't look right and it don't smell right. That is my opinion that Kartel will be free. And I never here to talk about serious issues or too much legal matters and talk about things outside my pay grade. I just here to put it out there that I am hoping, like my fingers and toes and everything is crossed paws, so that at some point in time we could see Kartel in the National Stadium. I just want to go ashore. I just want to go ashore. Being honest with you, I just want to go ashore. I'm really not, I'm not so interested in what has happened. Sorry to the family and the man who lost. I always try to temper my comments on Kartel with the fact that somebody did lose their life and they have a family who mourning and they ain't going to be happy about none of this again. But One day I will come here and play a list. When I have enough time to find clean versions of Kartel that I could play, I will come and play a long list of Kartel songs, right? I promise all of that. But for now, we just said, Free World Boss, come Trinidad. That should be your first concert, you know what I mean? Buju came here very early in his freedom days, and I'm the biggest Buju fan it have. But certainly Kartel, I will be there. And a few people, salute my boy Jessel Evans out there. I have a few people I know who's big Buju fans who went Jamaica for the show, and if Kartel is released and his first show is in Jamaica, say less, say less. I want to congratulate again. Last week, somehow I forget. I don't know that the thing's getting bad with me, in my old age. And after the pressure of this SCA done, because I could tell you this about SCA, right? Me ain't do nothing when it comes to SCA, to tell you the truth. I should not admit this as a parent, right? But I want to salute to Stacy, who has been working with Zachary every day for the past 5 years and so on, with homework and following up on this and teaching him this and that. Me ain't do one thing. Me ain't do one damn thing to contribute to this man SCA's success. But I nervous, my belly hurting. I remember my mother. I went home from SCA telling her, listen, I think I get all right. And with that one question I had to list you with, about, and I ain't sure what was the answer for that. I said, but pretty much everything I right now, I sure I passed for Fatima. I remember coming home and telling them, yeah, I passed for Fatima, we good to go, don't worry about it. And only to find my mother sick, the old Albie had to come and pick me up and carry me. My mother. But I feeling like the pressure mountain. I find like I went to lecture a little class Saturday, salute to Star Broadcasting School, and every salute Chester Sombrano and the folks in the TV course at Star, Nigel Nicholson and the gang. I had to go there and lecture on Sunday about, well, not lecture, but I had to do a presentation about podcasting, right? Nigel called me there and tell me, you know, come on, they have a course and people asking about podcasting, so I'm now a podcasting facilitator. It's official. But I went to them, salute to them, some great youths. I mean, being around youths is always it's get back of energy. But I went this Sunday and I find like it's a little presentation I'll do 2-3 hours. I doing this all the time. But I find like a little nervous, boy, like a tense, you know what I mean? My anxiety levels high, like if I do any damn exam. So I'm blaming all the anxiety leading up to the exam. Now, how can I forget Ashe Abrams? Why would I forget that? I know, my apologies, but I want to congratulate her because that was easily one of the biggest stories in the country last week. And she went to the Miss World competition in Mumbai in India. And she come forward. They got top 4 position. Now, I will admit that I did not know that so many people were still interested in Miss World and them things. It seemed to be one of them things where we real interested when we win or when we do well. But when we ain't win and we ain't do well, we not interested at all. Like we there's no interest in these pageants at all when we send somebody. And you know, I saw somebody write about this where the level of support is poor, the level of funding and sponsorship is usually poor before the exam, before the pageants or anything that we have to send people to. The support is poor. But then when we go up and we win something, the support is great. This really show we up as Trinis and all. Maybe it's for a reason I didn't talk about it last week because she was coming close because of the time difference. It was the competition was in the middle of the day last week, Saturday. So a lot of people would have tuned in as well. It wasn't one where too much people sleeping or had to stay up late to watch it. And Miss Czech Republic, what you call them? She eventually won, but Ashe did very well. She won some competitions within the competition and so on. And she had a grand reception at the airport on Monday. Tassan, Pan, and everybody thing, and your family and everybody. I wonder, like, who sponsors these things? Not saying that they shouldn't do it, right? I just wonder. I always wondered about that. No matter who, like when Atto come back or when what's my javelin partner name again? Keshawn Walcott. When he came back, like who's organized these things and maybe it's the organizing committee. Good guy, a budget in place for that. But I like to see that. I like the reception. I would like to have a reception like that for everybody who ever go and represent us anyway, but that might be wishful thinking. I suppose when you do well, you're always going to have more attention on you. But hopefully we raise the bar, we raise the basement for what is attention, you know, so that when you come forth, you get all the accolades, or when you win, you get all the accolades that you should get. But we should have a higher baseline for when you ain't come nothing, or when you just go in, so that we get more corporate sponsorship. The corporate sponsorship is going to follow eyeballs, eh? So people a lot of times we'll talk about the government and the funding and how corporate Trinidad don't do nothing for people and all these kind of things. Just keep in mind that if 1.3 million people interested in something, corporates and everybody else is going to spend their money behind it. If we seem disinterested in it, we're going to sponsor it for the corporate entities want to get something out of it. There's two things they could get out of it. Number one is sales or some kind of marketing or branding or awareness for some product that they have or some brand that they're pushing. The second one is overall public relations for their brand name. So KISS as a company want to keep their name in a good light. And they used to tell us thing about corporate social responsibility, and think companies would be interested in that. In today's world, they talk about CSO, corporate CSR, corporate social responsibility, but they also talk about things like sustainability and all them new words. I mean, the reality is that companies not going to put a whole lot of money behind things unless the public, me and you, show that we care about it. But I do want to apologize and say congratulations to Ashley Abrams. Coming fourth in anything is a big deal in a global competition, and she make a run for it. She make a run for the win, and I'm happy for her, happy she get the reception she get. But I also want to take a minute to support our other queens. You know what I mean? We can't just have Ashley as the queen, and because she's the queen, we ain't supporting the queens that we have, right? I want to play a clip from a pageant from a few weeks ago and apologize to this contestant as well.
Trinidad and Tobago is a cosmopolitan and multi-ethnic country.
Right.
State 3 ethnicities and a meal they are known for.
Right.
Thank you. Trinidad are known for carnival, steel pan, and bitches.
Carnival, steel pan, and bitches. Bitches or beaches? I don't know what you want to say. Salute to everybody who going for pageants. As a surprise, so much people still involved in pageants. The pageants seem to be taking the road of a more intellectual type competition these days, and it's not so much of a bikini and a how good you're looking kind of competition anymore. But again, it's hard work to get to competitions like those. It's hard work to even place or come anywhere near the top of competitions like those. So we always want to take a minute to recognize them. And if we're doing that and we are tune about hard work, we had to play this tune, right? Dedicated to the great Ashley.
Whenever you dance, darling, it's like a romance. Because as you dip to make a stroke, is your hip does do the work. You have grace in every move. Shake your waist, let me groove. Girl, walk it up for me. Work it up for me. Work it for me. Work it up for me. Make it sweet for me. Work it up for me. Girl, do it neat for me. Work it up for me. You gotta work it for me. Work it up for me. Spin it round for me. Work it up for me. Groove it down for me. Work it up for me. Girl, this thing that you're doing, you don't know what you're causing. Feel my heart always beating. Oh God, oh, don't whine if you're whining. You hear? Work it up for me. Work it up for me. Work it for me. Work it up for me. Girl, do the thing for me. Work it up for me. Make it sweet for me. Work it up for me. And just so my skin does crawl, I said, no, don't stop at all. Girl, walk it up for me.
Work it up for me.
You gotta work it for me.
Work it up for me.
Make it sweet for me.
Work it up for me.
Girl, do the thing for me.
Work it up for me.
Work it for me.
Work it up for me.
Spin it round for me.
Work it up for me.
Groove it down for me.
Work it up for me.
Girl, this thing that you're doing, you don't know what you're causing. Feel me hand how it beating. Oh God, do the wine. Walk it
Up for me. Work it up for me. Do the thing for me. Work it up. She went to do the thing for me. Another person who's been doing the thing for me for the longest while, and we take a minute to say rest in peace to the great Jumbo. Unmatchable character of the highest order. You know what I mean? I'm gonna say character in terms of the character of the man, character in terms of the character that he portrayed for his whole lifetime. I have a philosophy about men like Jumbo. You know, I don't understand how we have a university here. Two university, right? University of Trinidad is a big one. University of Western Indies. I could only talk about UWI. I ain't reached UTT yet, right? But I headed there. But when we talking, I went and do a whole marketing degree. Twice, as a matter of fact. I do undergrad and a master's in marketing. And at no point in time, any lecturer ever used somebody like Jumbo as a topic of, you know, so we use Walmart as examples. We use Starbucks. We use the Seattle Pike Fish Place, Peak, whatever the people name over there, would throw the fish and they make noise and thing. We use Amazon when Amazon was still only selling book. We use every single Nike, all these different companies, but somehow we're doing these degrees that made and raised in Trinidad and Tobago and is for Trinidad and Tobago and is designed, apparently, quote unquote, for us to work and contribute to the country and region as a whole. But somehow we do so much lessons on branding, but never about somebody like Jumbo. I want to talk about why for a minute, right? But let me get to the Express so I could get... the reason I read the articles, right, is because I have a tendency to call people name wrong, say the wrong thing, pronounce thing wrong. So I try to safeguard myself by reading the articles, right? And I know I can't read so well, but all you bear with me. The headline says Trinidad's legendary nutsman Jumbo has died. Keith Martin. I didn't know Jumbo name was Keith Martin, right? I will tell you by my own personal interactions with Jumbo, but how much people don't know Jumbo's real name, right? Keep that in mind. Keith Martin, the man known to Trinidad and Tobago as Jumbo the Nutsman, has died. His passing has widely been mourned by those who remembered him at events across the island. In 2019, after an outcry from cricket fans, local nuts vendors, including Jumbo, were allowed to continue selling nuts at the CPL T20 cricket tournament at the Queen's Park Oval. I remember talking about that here, where the CPL came in and the back of the ticket all of a sudden said, no vendors, no this, no that. So imagine somebody like Sunshine Snacks, and there's no knock on companies like these, right? Because one of the local companies we had studied a lot at MBA level in Lockjack was Lockjack Company, which is Associated Brands. Should I be talking about this? Does this put my degree at question or in disrepute or anything? I don't want no problems, you know. But while I went into Lockjack, I started MBA in Tunapuna, right? In Paje Road, what you call Institute of Business. And the organization had just transitioned from IOB into Arthur Lockjack Graduate School of Business, right? They had just built the campus. We were the first graduates in class out of that. Let me give myself a damn round of applause. Hard working. We were the first graduates in class out of Lockjack. And I remember the reason that the school was named Arthur Lockjack Graduate School of Business is because Arthur Lockjack made a $20 million donation to the school, a bursary donation. I don't know what it was, but a contribution to the school, and got title branding for the school. And the debate that we had back then was, is it okay to name an institution like that over somebody who's still alive, or should it be done posthumously? Something I never thought of, because I believe in giving people their flowers while they're here. But so the more seasoned and experienced people in the class was telling me, well, the risk is really if that person does something that goes into disrepute. You know, if you find out that the name, you know, they name something Corey Shepherd Graduate School of Business, then you find out it's heavy drugs I was selling all the years. Me no one damn thing about business. I have a whole human trafficking ring. Then it brings everybody who went to that school into disrepute, because now your name get inextricably linked with that person. But we were debating that back then. But it's so funny. the Arthur Lockjack entrepreneur who should be celebrated and has done a lot for the development of not just the business landscape of Trinidad and Tobago, but Trinidad and Tobago as a whole should be celebrated for that. But in 2019, the company that he ran as an entrepreneur was making a move that would stop other entrepreneurs like Jumbo from coming there to sell nuts because them sell nuts too. Now, business is fair game, right? Competition is competition. But I always feel like we have a tendency to look at entrepreneurship in a very narrow way. So it's only if you reach $1 billion and fame from business schools and business magazines and the media and all that, it seems as though people are not recognized as entrepreneurs. Because for all the life I know Jumbo. Jumbo never worked for nobody. I never see Jumbo with a lanyard. You know, the move now is to say as an entrepreneur and say that you're running business and them kind of thing. But when you're making videos online, your lanyard in your top pocket, you know what I mean? Your lanyard, what's called a lanyard? Your lanyard with the ID card, which part you're working, is in your top pocket because you're securing your monthly revenue or your government money or your job money from your private sector job while you're building anything. And nothing wrong with that either. That is also an entrepreneur. But we seem to only recognize the entrepreneur as the person who reached lockjack status or sapga status or 1% status, or whatever to say that. I'm not sure why that's the case. But let me read on, right? Cricket supporters became outraged over the weekend after learning that Martin, who has been selling nuts, stop saying Martin, right? It's Jumbo, right? Jumbo, who has been selling nuts at the Oval for over decades, was no longer being allowed to do so for the CPL games. Quote here is saying, This is Jumbo, the original nuts man. I've been selling nuts at the Oval since 1971 when Sunil Gavaskar made 200 runs back-to-back and beat the West Indies. I've been selling at CPL games for the first 4 years. They're telling me that Sunshine Snacks, who is not 40 years, they telling me I can't sell nuts. Trinidad, all you take that. All you want Jumbo nuts? In July 2023, legendary batsman Sunil Gavaskar was honored by the Queen's Park Cricket Club with a plaque presented by the president of the QPCC, Dr. Nigel Camacho. Jumbo the Nutsman got the attention of Gavaskar, who went over to have a chat with him in front of the Carib stand. Now, I'll say this, right? Jumbo could get the attention of people. I don't know if it's the profession or what, but Jumbo don't talk soft. He always well dressed and looking. He will stand out wherever he go. And he's legendary status in Trinidad, right? So for him to meet Sunil Gavaskar would be a huge deal and monumentous for us as Trinidadians as well. Not just for Jumbo, but it's a certain amount of pride for all of us, right? Go and Google who's Sunil Gavaskar if you don't know. Not only did Jumbo relay his admiration for the great man, but he also serenaded him with the words of the Gavaskar Calypso sung by a Lord Relator. Gavaskar, the real master, just like a wall, we couldn't out Gavaskar at all. Which brought a big smile to the face of the Indian great. Can I squeeze in a little piece of Gavaskar in this, boy? Kenny, the man know all the words for Gavaskar, you know. Kenny better know song, you know. But the point I'm making here is that, well, first and foremost, rest in peace to Jumbo and condolences to his family, his fans, to the nation as a whole. And, you know, when I see the reception that Ashley Abrams would have gotten for coming fourth in Miss World, which she fully deserves, right? I wonder sometimes about how we treat our heroes like Jumbo. Maybe the question is how we define heroes. Before I get into that, I want to talk about the entrepreneurship thing for a little while. Jumbo is a man around, he spent a lot of time around St. James. It says Cocoriti from, right? But we claiming Jumbo, right? Jumbo is officially from St. James. Cocoriti is a part of St. James, right? So let me put that out there. Let me put that out there one time. But as far as I know, Jumbo would have he was selling nuts. He used to sell corn soup. And my earliest memory of Jumbo was in the stadium watching football. I can't remember when I was small, maybe I wasn't into watching cricket as much, but I used to be in the stadium watching football a lot for some reason. And Jumbo had he had a brand built for himself that was a textbook lesson or definition on how you go about building brands and so on, right? So think about this, right? Nuts at the time in the stadium was $1, right? Everybody used to sell nuts for $1. And you could not sell more nuts for more than $1 because of an economic concept called perfect competition, right? So what they say in a perfectly competitive market where all products are the same, and I talk about this a lot in marketing class too, right? When you look at a bag of nuts, one bag of salt nuts is not differentiable enough from another bag of salt nuts to get the consumer to believe that your nuts better than the next man's nuts. Pause, right? It is a bag of nuts. It fits all the descriptions of what perfect competition is, right? And when you go in the stadium to buy nuts, so let me say the stadium is the whole world, and you had to buy nuts in there. The nuts man that you're likely to buy from is the one that is closest to you when you are hungry or when you need nuts or when you demand nuts, right? It's the same thing I was saying about doubles. You're more likely to buy from doubles man who's closer to you than any other one. So it is an extremely difficult place to compete because when you're in a market like that, its quality is a price taker, right? Meaning that the market sets the price and no one firm could sell for higher than the market price. So if you can make nuts and sell it for $1 and make a profit, you are out of the market. You will fail. So if it's costing you $1.25 to sell, you cannot go and sell it for $1.50 because everybody in the stadium know a pack of nuts is $1. Extremely difficult business circumstances to come through, right? But people come through it all the time, and Jumbo was one of those people who come through it because when everybody else was selling nuts for $1, Jumbo price was $2. 100% more than everybody else was selling in the stadium, right? No, again, how could that not be a lesson in business and marketing and economics? I'm not sure. I'm not sure why we hide away so much from our own local examples of greatness and innovation and ingenuity and business acumen. I don't know why we hide away from it so much. Maybe it's only, like I say, maybe only when you become a billionaire, people believe that you did something special with your life. But it's my belief that if you figure out anything to sell, you could be celebrated. Quite hard to sell thing and it's hard to make money. Ask anybody who have a business idea who never try it how much they would give to have a business that mind them for the whole life, like Jumbo, you know what I mean? Jumbo lanyard, you know? No lanyard. His name is known. I mean, now it might be a difference, right? But he would have had a name before that. When you say the word Jumbo, everybody in the country would know exactly who you're talking about. And they will associate the brand, no pun intended, they will associate the brand with some specific thing. So how was Jumbo able to sell nuts for 100% more than everybody else in a perfectly competitive market where the whole market only willing to pay $1 for a pack of nuts? It's really because he created a system and a brand around himself where people used to, you again, when you demand or you're hungry or you want a pack of nuts or it's halftime, the nuts man closest to you is the one to buy from. But Jumbo wasn't only selling for $2, no. Man was waiting for Jumbo to reach around to pay him the 100% more to get nuts from him. Pause. So Jumbo used to have this thing where he used to throw the nuts for you. And the earliest days I remember Jumbo, that to me, and people got to remind me and tell me if it's true, because if he started in his 70s, I only know him late 80s, maybe early 90s, right? And what was happening was he used to have the big bags of nuts in the aisle. And again, he's a character. He have a serious kind of face, but he quick to laugh. He wanted to joke. And he was also very, very passionate about the sports that he was watching. He loved the cricket when he was watching it. He loved the football. He come out there really back in the teams. So while Jumbo, you're trying to get Jumbo attention for nuts, but you had to wait until a bowler bowl or a man on a breakaway, he looking to score. Jumbo watching the game, he'll come back to you after because he's celebrating like any other fan in the stadium, right? But if you know the aisle of the stadium, he walking up the aisle, and if you want nuts from in the middle now, what used to happen is all the other nutsmen used to come, either walk through the aisle and disturb everybody, or pass down the nuts and somebody send back down the money. What Jumbo used to do is stay in the aisle and throw it for you, and you send back down the money across the thing, right? That evolved into him being down by the base of the stands now. And he just walking around the stands, the lowest part of the stand. Picture the stadium, right? The stadium, easier to see it, where you could walk all the way around the bottom of the uncovered sand. Jumbo walking down by the fence there, and he said, Jumbo here, nuts all here, Jumbo. And the name Jumbo come from my understanding. He used to say the nuts is big grain nuts, right? But all nuts vendors, they say that, remember, the market have all the information. They know it ain't no big grain nuts. All the nuts is the same sort of grain, right? But man waiting for Jumbo, so Jumbo sit down there and he pelt up the thing now. And people pass down the money, right? Pass down your $2. Pass down your 100% more. And he developed a reputation for being accurate and being, you know what I mean? And think about it. Again, talk about innovation and operational efficiency. While the other nutsmen had to walk up the aisle, walk back around, so walk through people, Jumbo only walking around the smallest circle that the stadium have to offer. At that time, Jumbo reached down and he tracking. Because in the oval now, he not climbing up in no set of stands and going in between people and saying Jumbo walking around the field itself outside the boundary. and throw the nuts for you on any level in the oval he reaching up. He evolve again in operational efficiency. He start to get some youth men now because you realize some people can't catch. If you're thing and you pelt and you miss, you hit somebody, you bust the bag and nuts, and you have no problem, you know, if it piles and you miss, you pelt back the next one for you, and you was accurate. So people, what you're paying $2 for is the whole brand experience. You ain't paying $2 for the product alone. You're paying maybe $1 for the nuts, but the next dollar for the he pelts it and you catch it and all that laugh and you have a full experience, which is what they're teaching in branding today. I don't know how he could not be an example of that. When he hired the youth men now, he used to throw the youth men collecting the money sometimes. He had the option of if you want him to throw it to you and catch, or you want the youth man catch for you, and he built a brand for himself over the years. I also see him evolve and make a change. He went into corn soup. At that one time, Jumbo selling clothes. Jumbo was just that guy. And above all that, he had a personal brand that was impossible to copy. I wonder how well men like them would do in this social media, where it had this era of social media. Imagine Jumbo having a TikTok page where you have somebody who walking around with you. Now that seems to be the lick right now, right? When you're young and you're building your personal brand, you have somebody walking around with that camera. You see it a lot now. Somebody following you around with that camera and documenting everything you do and making reels, and all the artists have it now, right? But I wanted to imagine this. Jumbo do this in his 70s. What I want to call it dark ages of branding. Dark ages, at least personal individual branding, where a big company like Sunshine Snacks could come and squeeze you out and them kind of thing, you know what I mean? But in today's world, it's almost impossible to separate consumer from producer. In other words, anything you're selling, you can sell direct to the consumer more easily, including your own personal brand, more easily than we could have ever do it before. So while Jumbo had a link with Trinidadian nationals and his fans and his customer base that is you can't copy it, and it's hard to match it. And I talk about the emotional nature of branding, the way people feel about Jumbo. He didn't have the avenue to bring out his own personal brand, because you only see in Jumbo in a nuts, match. If you only see him in a cricket match or football match or them kind of things, you ain't really go see Jumbo outside of that. I was fortunate enough to be able to interact and talk to Jumbo a lot. Because he was around St. James. So I was a little fellow teenager, maybe in St. James, you're going out there to buy food and think Jumbo was around. Jumbo selling corn soup right on the corner, I want to say Vidal Street on the Western Main Road. And one thing I'll tell you about him personally, right, is anybody who ever had an interaction with Jumbo could tell you that he's going to say something positive. He's going to get some encouraging words. He's going to tell you, boy, stay in school, do your work. And that is not, them things don't happen by chance. That has to be your character and who you are and what you strive to do in life. And to be honest with you, that's one of the things that I strive to do and change now. I want to be in a position where everybody I meet have a better interaction or leave me feeling better, especially young people. I want to be real conscious of my words, and when young people come around, tell them something that could speak life into them and make them feel good about themselves and maybe accomplish something that they was having some doubts about. So I channel in the spirit of Jumbo. And I want to thank him for everything that he's done for the country. On behalf of all of us, right? On behalf of everybody, I want to thank him for everything that he has done. And I wish that there was a way to have a reception, whether it be a funeral or otherwise, for Jumbo that could match the kind of heroic welcome he had for Ashley Abrams, which he deserved. I wish we could have those types of forums where other people, you know, when I'm, as a bad example, when you see a soca artist, I always remember when Devon Matthews died, you get to hear tributes from other soca artists and stuff. It would be great to hear tributes from everybody who was up and coming from the 70s and know Jumbo and stuff. I'm talking about all local celebrities, politicians, the do-gooders, the influencers in society. It would be superb to be able to hear a little bit from them about what Jumbo meant to them. I strained from the team a little bit only because I see this Gavaskar song mentioned. I want to get a little verse and a chorus because the tune bad, you know?
A lovely day for cricket, blue skies and gentle breeze. The Indians are waiting now to play the West Indies. A signal from the umpire, the match is going to start. The cricketers come on the field, they all look very smart. Irapali Prasana, Gigi Boy and Wadeka, Krishna Murti and Vishnu Mankad. Them boys could rail play cricket on any kind of wicket. They make the West Indies team look so bad. We was in all kind of trouble. Joey Carew pull a muscle, Clive Lloyd get about 3 run out. We was in trouble without a doubt. It was Gavaskar, the real master, just like a wall. We couldn't out Gavaskar at all, not at all. You know the West Indies couldn't out Gavaskar at all. Venkataraghavan, Bedi in a turban, Vijay Jaishima, Jayantil Nadal. They helped to win the series against the West Indies at Sabina Park and Queen's Park Oval. 158 by Kanai, really sent our hopes up high. Noriega 9 for 95, the Indian team they still survive. It was Gavaskar, the real master, just like a wall. We couldn't out Gavaskar at all, not at all. You know the West Indies couldn't out Gavaskar at all.
I wonder why Jumbo didn't take a pack of nuts and hit Gavaskar that time. Jumbo really let a man come and score 200 in two innings in the over. Jumbo, you should hit a man a pack of nuts. But again, I want to celebrate the life of Jumbo. And also, not just nuts, man. Like I say, character, because Jumbo is somebody who, as much as he work hard, and I respect him as an entrepreneur, as a businessman, the man also play hard. He support all the sports he could have supported during his time. He also was in phase 2 Panyard at any given time. You could find him at any cultural or sporting event, anything that is Trinidadian, Trinidadian and Tobagoan, a true patriot. And he's the definition for me, and I have a song here to play for him. And it pretty much sums up what Jumbo is and the way he lives his life. As I tell you, a channeling Jumbo going forward. So I want to leave this one as a dedication to the businessman, entrepreneur, patriot, flag flyer, and nuts man, and corn soup man, and an inspirational man, the great Jumbo.
Double M, yeah. Jump in a style and they really like angle me, bang. What a da bang. Angle me, bang. Have a little money in the pocket 'cause I just got paid. I could do it a little more, but I'm still irate. So now I'm stepping out to a party. Trouble when I link up with my friends and family. Man, anywhere we go, we mash it up. We rip it up, we mash it up. Girl, them a fi bubble and them a fi back it up. Everybody see we and they say we act it up. We just living, mash it up. We rip it up, we mash it up. Girl, them a fi bubble and them a fi
But it's a man named Keith Martin, rest in peace to the great Jumbo. As we talk about hard work, right? I spy with my little eye something that I like a lot. And you know, the thing about it is when I like it, you go out to hear about it. That must be annoying, that must be very, very annoying. But I did see that the UK has made a step forward to implementing a 4-day work week, right? So it's from Cheddar. Cheddar is a news site, a news blog, a news Instagram page in the UK. It said, what's your take on a 4-day work week? A study shows that 89% of businesses kept it post-trial, reporting happier staff and better recruitment. A majority of companies that participated in the world's biggest trial of a 4-day work week have made the policy permanent, a new report revealed. In the experiment involving 61 UK companies, 89% implement that shortened work week. I might need a shortened work week. A shortened work week. All right, let me try this again. In the experiment involving 61 UK companies, 89% still implement the shortened work week, and 51% have made it a permanent shift. 1 year later, and a follow-up study by Autonomy showed that Autonomy is the name of the company, right? Autonomy showed that all of the managers and CEOs involved in the study saw positive effects, with 55% finding it very positive. Companies noted that improvements in staff well-being was 82%, reduced turnover was 50%, and better recruitment was 32%. Some valid questions that people ask, right? Like what happens in places like the hospitality industry. Our company, for instance, we hire merchandisers and promoters. I don't know that we could work 4 days out of a week. Just because of how important the job function is on the front line. I think that one of the things we had to look at as a whole is how we restructure compensation. Because a 4-day work week, I could see the benefits of a 4-day work week. I remember Elon Musk coming into Twitter, well, now X, right? And it was not well. He didn't like the idea too much of the 4-day work weeks and the work from home. He had scrapped those both things as soon as he went into Twitter. He's like, well, they come back in the office and work every day kind of thing. But we're seeing more and more now where the world, because I mean, this is a construct, right? This come out from factory type work and service type work where we have a 40-hour 5-day work week. And I don't think we've revised or revisited exactly how much the world has changed in terms of what work is, and the way work has changed over the years to that may allow us to, I'm not saying work less or more hours at first, but at least revisit the way we work. The 40-hour work week was real good, and the Monday to Friday thing was real good when we were dealing with factories and so on, and religion was a big part of the world, and Saturday and Sunday was religious days for the most part. But now you're seeing a shift in all those different variables, and maybe we're at a juncture in the world where we could revisit the way we work as a whole. Our partner was talking to the other day about ChatGPT. And, he was asking him about it, and I was like, brother, just put anything in ChatGPT, it don't matter what you're working on or what you're thinking of, or, like, let ChatGPT replace Google for you, and you're going to see a huge jump in your productivity. Because I treat ChatGPT like a draft. So, for instance, if I had to go and do a lecture on why Jumbo is a great entrepreneur, I could basically put in and say, hey, ChatGPT, what's going on? I want a PowerPoint thing with about 20 slides on entrepreneurship. I could start by saying, tell me why Jumbo Nutsman in Trinidad is a great entrepreneur. If you don't come up with nothing good there, I could add from my knowledge and experience and whatever else I need to add at that point in time. So I treat it like if I have a personal assistant or somebody to write a draft for me. And then I will touch it up. As somebody asked me for, a good friend of mine asked me for a recommendation letter the other day. I feel good when people ask me for them kind of thing that I really like. Plenty of times he's getting a recommendation letter and you got to hit them the ballpark generics, right? But for him, it would be important for me to write my real feeling into that letter, right? And I know it's important for him as well. So I put a draft for the letter, basically expressing the way I feel about this person professionally and personally. And then when I read it, I say, this looking sappy. I say, all I did was take the whole letter, put it in ChatGPT, and I say, make this letter better for me. And then when they write it, I say, make it better if the intent, what the person using it for, is XYZ, and I do it again and give me back a next draft. So I like ChatGPT because with AI now, it's giving you the opportunity to do these things. So in other words, when I had to do slides for a class long time, I have class on a Saturday morning, I need to go nowhere the Friday night. Sometimes I up till 2, 3 in the morning on the Friday night, because to do a thing on entrepreneurship, I had to go back to the textbook, find out, okay, what is entrepreneurship? Give me a few different definitions. Why is entrepreneurship important in academics? I guess some definitions about who say it's important, some definitions about who say it's not important. So I had to read all these things, pull out the slides, put my talking points. Now go back to the start, remember what I want to talk about so that I could successfully do a 2 or 3 hour class. To do a 2 or 3 hour class used to take me 8-9 hours to do every single time. So when you look at how quickly I could get that done now, I want to add to that I do have a lot of experience, and I've lectured since 2010 maybe. I've done hundreds of courses at masters and bachelors. It's about damn wrong with that applause. Your boy work hard. Work hard in this life. 7 days a week sometimes are courses, right? Every day after work, and then whole day Saturday and Sunday. I work hard. So I'm saying that I could do that because when ChatGPT puts out something and I see it, I'm going to get to the end result faster, but that's just experience on life. But again, it didn't take me 9 hours to come up with no presentation or nothing. Same thing with business proposals. It used to take you a whole day. I remember working on proposals with Daddy and them in the office there. And at time Daddy tell me I'm working on a proposal. Some joke man make in the office. He's like, hey guys, get back on track. A minute is a minute. This man will play. But no. You could basically ask ChatGPT to do, like, tell it what you want and give it the whole proposal, and then you basically, now I turn editor. I just reading through and making adjustments and making changes and do what I have to do. Again, they have sites like Upwork, sites like, well, LinkedIn has a lot of it where you could get personal assistants, Fiverr and so on. So sometimes the night before I have a presentation to do, when I used to sit down in PowerPoint trying to design thing and put it together, now I go on Upwork, I pay somebody $15 to rework my whole presentation and put it together so my thing looking like if it well properly designed and animations coming in, and you know what I mean, for a lot less. So the point I'm getting at is we're working in a world now where with the tools that we have, we could get a lot more done in an 8-hour period, and we could work a lot faster than we were working before. And I want to say as well that because, especially when you look at cerebral work, right, brain work, anybody in them professions could tell you about burnout, right? Whether you're a writer, you're an engineer, you're an attorney, you see that type of work. When you're working for long periods of time, the rest benefits you more than more work. I could put it like that. So if you reset, creative people and so on, if you reset and you get a pause, you tend to come back at the task a little fresher than you was before. Like every morning when I wake up, right, I go to the New York Times, I do Wordle, connections, ways how to put together the 4 words, then I do the crossword, then I do one called tiles. I don't like tile one too much, but I do them things, and I play Duolingo, and that's my way to get my brain started for the day. So once I up and running for the day, I feel like I could challenge the day better. But inevitably, I work now. Last weekend, I worked whole week last week. I studied this SSA thing on my mind, although me ain't do a damn thing. Then I had class Saturday, and I had class Sunday, and then so I ain't getting a chance to pause and reset and reflect, and you know what I mean? So right now I'm feeling burnout levels, I'm feeling high levels of anxiety, I feel like everything getting to me a little bit because it's a lot happening at once. So a little pause, and you know, just little things, a little getaway. Not saying you have to go and spend money to fly and go somewhere or anything, but just go by the beach, you know, and go and get a manicure. But the therapists, people and them psychologists and things, they tell about self-care, right? Whatever self-care does look like for you, go and play some card with Kenny and them. I didn't play card with Kenny and them in a long time. All them things where think of it like a pressure valve. That's a real thing. Me not more them thing, you know. But if you could release the pressure every now and again, you could come back fresher. And I think that was the point of the global study, to see if, okay, with the way we work now, are there industries or are there fields where we could actually pay people the same amount and shorten the work week so that they get a longer off period, especially against the backdrop where most youths now, not millennials probably, but typically, particularly Gen X and Gen Y, them fellas out 1 and 2 and 3 jobs and things like what you would hear people talking about in the 80s, where, you know, the immigrant going to New York to live, them working 2-3 jobs. Now you're finding more and more people. You have what you call a gig economy. You're doing your regular job, but you also have little things you do on the side. You have a YouTube channel, you have an Instagram page, you porn, you promoter, you do little events and throw party and thing. Or, you know, you're a designer, you do little designs and thing on the side. So people have more of those things going on. And if you create more space for them, you could end up with happier employees. In Fortune magazine, I also saw Bernie Sanders, Senator Bernie Sanders from Vermont, right? He said, here's how Bernie Sanders wants to give you a 32-hour work week. So again, same 4 days, right? The 40-hour work week has been standard in the U.S. for more than 8 decades. Now some members of Congress want to give hourly workers an extra day off. Senator Bernie Sanders, the far-left independent from Vermont, this week introduced a bill that would shorten to 32 hours the amount of time many Americans can work each week before they're owed overtime. Given advances in automation, robotics, artificial intelligence, Sanders says U.S. companies can afford to give companies more time off without cutting their pay and benefits. Critics say a mandated shorter work week could force many companies to hire additional workers or lose productivity. So that is a concern. If we like, for instance, if I have to do 4-hour work weeks now by us, we probably have to hire more people. And then the cost of our service would go up. If the cost of our service goes up to our clients, the cost of their products will go up eventually. So you could end up with a similar situation like what we spoke about with the increase in minimum wage. So it seems as though most of the arguments around this, they're holding up now for knowledge type work and not necessarily face-to-face or like customer service or retail and those types of spaces changing. But the reality is that the retail space and all those things changing at the same time. So what Sanders will propose to do, the bill Sanders introduced on Wednesday in the Senate would reduce the standard work week from 40 hours to 32 hours. Employers would be prohibited from reducing their workers' pay and benefits to match the lost hours. That means people who currently work Monday to Friday, 8 hours per day, would get to add an extra day to their weekend. Workers eligible for overtime would get paid extra for exceeding 32 as opposed to 40 as it is now, right? Same thing here, right? Same thing in Trinidad. Sanders said the work time reductions would be phased in over 4 years. He held a hearing on the proposal on Thursday. And he said, one recent study of British companies, so they referred to the same study of British companies and showed how happy people are. And I mean, it's in Fortune magazine, right? So just go and Google Bernie Sanders. The broader discussion here for me is, can we implement a system like that here? How well would that work in Trinidad and Tobago if we go to a 4-day work week? Some of the oil companies, I want to say BP in particular, right? All the fellas with the oil money go remind me, right? But I think all they do it is at 1080 or 540 or 420. All they do some kind of thing in the oil companies. And, Mr. Yee, call man tell me all they do. I can't remember the name of the thing, but I know that is work like a longer day during the week. And then they have every other Friday off. I hope I had that somewhere close to right. Is that what it is? Always work normal days and just get every Friday off. And how does it work if you work from home? Like if you work your 5 days from home, you still get the extra Friday off with meals. Somebody had to help me with this. But they have versions of it and variations that typically seem to be not affecting the employee, or at least not affecting the employee negatively, but having a positive impact on the employee and also having a positive impact on the organization. From a business standpoint, some of it a little worrying to me, to be honest, because I could see where our costs are going up significantly if that is implemented across the board in Trinidad, because we have people who we have to service customers 7 days a week, right? Let me put it like that. Pause. 7 days a week. So we are already in a situation where if you have people who work in 7 days a week to get the overtime and them kind of thing, which we try to discourage, people need a break. People might not realize how much they need a break until they break down, But in cases like those, I either find myself in a position where we have to pay much more overtime. Because think of it now as we having to pay overtime for Saturday and Sunday. But now we have to pay overtime for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It gets expensive to do. I'm not against it. I just want to make sure that we're profitable still, because it's either we offer a reduced level of service, which means if you implement something like this, we can end up employing less people and just have less coverage, or you end up having more people and you're in a situation where your cost is going up and the consumer will pay for that cost eventually. I just wondering, what is the net effect or the net benefit on society? Particularly in the case of small companies like ours, not going to move the needle nationally. But the biggest employer we have now is the government. And if the government moves to a system like this now, the dollars that will be affected is the dollars we don't care about, right? The taxpayers' dollars. We don't care about that. Once you take that, we only care about net income, right? But once your taxpayers' dollars, once the government burden on the salaries for public servants goes up, again, the price of everything is going to start rising fast. And I wonder if it's something that we could live with. I wonder if we're looking at societies like USA who want to implement things like these, and we're looking at parts of what they do and parts of how their society operates, and a lot of them don't apply to us. I don't know if we have the same working culture as the US or the UK. I don't know if we consider that they don't have the same public sector burden that we have in the US that we have here, and the government is the one to pay, especially against the backdrop of an increase in property tax being met the way it is being met now. Already tells me that the taxpayer fed up. We don't want to pay no more money for nothing. So the property tax, the discussion there is whether that should be a local government tax, and that should go to like the borough corporation so that they make sure that your area good. Like what the US has that, right? State taxes versus federal taxes, or based on municipalities and districts and so on. But there's a broader discussion that I'm not seeing much of either. If property taxes go to local government, right? Think about this. It means that the property tax is based on the rental value or the market value of the property, right? And if you put that in local government, meaning that when I collect property tax for Shogunas, that is used to fix up Shogunas. I want to appreciate the gap that is going to create, because property values in Sinclair and Federation Park and Westmorelands and Goodwood Park and Ellerslie, what do you call the place, and all these types of things, way higher. The property values way higher than they are in Shogunas or Rima, or even places like Laventil and Sealots and Beetham, right? The property tax is way higher in some of these areas. So what I mean, they're saying that to say that when they collect these loud sums of money as property tax in those municipalities or those local government districts or whatever you call them, and that is reinvested into that area. I wonder if we look at some of the things that happen in the States and compare ourselves to them when our culture is very different to that, right? It means that areas like those are going to get fixed up even more than they done fix up better than Shogunas and them place already, right? Because it have nowhere you could drive through in Westmorelands. We're building on top of building, and man adding on thing and unsightly thing, and the road pave all how, and them thing don't work in them areas. Them thing is work here in Shogunas, right? So if you collect property tax and make it a local government, so whatever the local government collect, that is what they could reinvest in the community. We're going to see a much bigger gap between the wealthier areas and the poorer areas. Let me add to that, right? The states have a way when they collect taxes as state taxes, they also use that to apply to all public programs like schooling. So imagine this now. We don't have a gap with the kind of quality of schools you could go to in certain areas and that kind of thing. Imagine if that money is invested. So when you're in Port of Spain and environs, because of the amount that they're collecting in property tax, so there's dense population and more expensive properties. So they're collecting plenty more in property tax, both in volume and dollar value. And then they're putting that into the schools in them area. Just be prepared for how much of a gap that's going to create, right? If there's a road they're going on. I see they drop it from 3% to 2%. They're putting back they seem to be moving along the lines that the opposition been calling for before, where they have a separate valuation council, because some of the things are out of whack, right? But whatever it is, the property tax is coming. So the question is, when you have things like property taxes, you move to things like a 4-day work week, and you change the structure of how the country is collecting taxes and how much taxes we need to pay. Then you reduce at the same time the amount of hours that public servants work in, or you add a significant amount of overtime to public servants. Because I don't know if we as consumers willing to say that licensing is only open 4 days a week now because it's 3-day weekends and things. I don't know if we're ready for that either, or if we will take that on. But again, that's something to continue to look at. Bernie Sanders promoting that. Bernie Sanders looking at that phenom over 4 years. So maybe it's a place for us to start to just observe what happens in the UK in particular, but in the States when they implement things like that, and see how applicable it is to us. But what I could tell you is that once you table it in this country, you're going to find 100% of the response is that we're waiting for you to implement that right now.
Boss, I'm not coming to work today. I can't see. No, nothing wrong with my eyes. I just can't see myself coming to work today. Thank you. In other words, I ain't not doing one brass soul today. Don't tell me about work, I out on the road today. Me and some pretty beaches, I out on
is a holiday. And you know what's the last question I want to ask about that? If they give you a 4-day work week, what do you prefer? You prefer the Friday off or the Monday off? I'm not trying to be wicked. I want to talk about this SSA thing, right? I'm watching this thing and it carrying over from week to week, and I'm hoping it die a natural death so I don't have to talk about it, but it look like that is not the case. I want to salute to Jude and Naldo, the Alternative Perspective podcast. Only give you one a month now. Give you one a month. Monthly ain't gonna be bad. It ain't gonna be so bad if I only give you one a month. One every 6 weeks self. Because you see, these types of issues is where I used to get away with not talking about them at all, because I know Jude and them go talk about this and I ain't clear, and then when them done talk about it now, at least I go understand what I'm reading and hopefully come and talk about that. But so once a month, what we go do 12 a year? I'm reading from the Guardian here, right? And if you don't know the issue or you haven't been following the issue, the SSA, the Security Services Agency, came into the news a couple weeks ago, and basically they almost dismantled the whole organization, and under strange circumstances. I didn't see clearly when they first break the story, like what was the reason for this, and it seems as though the media has been doing their work to find out what was the reason. But when they find out what was the reason and the things behind it, it sounds very, very Trinidadian. I want to read from Guardian here from Asha Javid. That says, as the TNC police continues their investigation into the Security Services Agency shakeup, they have now interviewed Pastor Ian Brown, the man at the center of the issue. Contacted yesterday, Brown told Guardian Media, yes, I was questioned with matters that had no connection to the warrant. The warrant is a scam, and I don't know if or what they would have planted there. They were all over the house, and I was not given the opportunity to see what they were doing, neither were my family allowed. They were all made to stand up outside in the hot sun. I'm discovering daily items missing from my office and cupboards. They're going to do things. Last week, Brown stepped forward and identified himself as a spy with the agency. After the Arima property was raided on March 9th. Brown told Guardian Media that his rationale for going public last week was to protect members of his church still employed at the SSA, whose jobs he believed were on the line. One of the people he claimed affected is his son, who was employed at the agency before him. He has said that he was keeping watch over how the matters are handled, and depending on the outcome will determine the next course of his action. Despite the ongoing investigation of the agency and the interrogation by police, Brown insisted yesterday that he is still employed, and unlike other employees who have had their equipment seized and security clearances revoked, he still has his SSA-issued firearm. Last week, about 5 SSA members from Cyber Defense and Cyber Operation Units, including Deputy Director of Intelligence Joanne Daniel and Brown's son, were suspended. The SSA, this as acting SSA Director Anthony Philip Spencer continues his probe into the agency's operations and operations, hiring practices, and the vulnerability of the organization. When questioned his next move following the suspension, Brown answered, I'm speaking with my lawyers only. So the thing about it is this, right? They went in, they basically disbanded the organization. They went in, they seized firearm, people get suspended, they suspend all forensic testing and thing, and the pastor come out. He was the one who released the part where, because nobody wasn't saying nothing, the media was asking questions and not getting answered. But Brongy come out and say he's a spy, and that is where your work was. I don't know if you should say that if you're a spy, because you're no longer going to be no spy if you come out and say you're a spy. But he say he's not suspended. He still have his job. He still have all his accreditations to get in the building and all them thing, which would worry me, because if you're a spy, maybe you should be the first person where they revoke your firearm and do them things if they're trying to get you away from them. If they're trying to extricate you from the whole situation, what we really doing here, spy? But the deeper issue for me here is number one, not so much that he's a pastor, but he's a pastor. It was found that the hiring practices, and there are several people within the organization were members of his church and hired directly by him and so on. They say his son was working there before him, so it's a little bit of, what is that, reverse nepotism, and you just bring your father. I mean, it's coming to think about it. If I get SSA work, the first man I'm going to look for is Kenny, we're going to have a time. We're going to have a time. You see, it's a headache to try to figure out how to make money. We're going to need SSA and make money. But the thing about it is almost like every 10 years or so, like you find that Trinidad and Tobago is remind us about things like this, where we have at the root of the decisions that we make and the people who advise the people who make decisions on our behalf, because we might not easily elect a pastor or a pundit or a imam is going to be a little difficult, right? Because the country might be divided along religious or even racial lines in some cases, and it will be hard. None of these political parties go and put up an imam and say, this is imam who run any place. And, we seem to shy away from that. But behind closed doors, we seem to have very little issue with these people being advised by religious leaders and so on. Like, I don't know if people will remember the name Yasina Gonzalez. You know what I mean? You remember Yasina Gonzalez? Wait, which one was Yasina Gonzalez? That was the one who was on the radio all the time. I always remember Sprang Along mocking this woman, and she was real upset. And Sprang Along was working Power 102 at the time, and she used to have a show, and Sprang Along have a show. And every time Sprang Along talk, Sprang Along mocking the woman accent, the wicked man, and you must never forget that these fellas are comedian, right? Just simply great Sprang Along. But Yasina Gonzalez used to come on the radio all the time and openly make predictions for people. And when people call in, they say this, that, and the third, you know what I mean? And Yasina give them a little prediction and all them kind of things. It's par for the course here, where we have, I was listening to something the other day. Joe Budden was interviewing Candace Owens. And Candace Owens was saying, if you follow the money in the States, you could find out where everything is. She was saying corporations are the ones who really run the US. So once you find out what the corporations doing or the wealthiest individuals doing, you will figure out what's going to happen next in the US or where things are going to go. I want to say that Trinidad might be slightly different. I must really like to comment about the 1%. The people who might be leading this country is really religious leaders. Everybody have an advisor, or a priest friend, or a pastor friend, or an imam friend, or something that run any place. So when Yasina Gonzalez was the biggest thing on radio at the point in time doing predictions, so people quite normal in this society. Only remember Patrick Manning had a spiritual advisor. I want to say that he didn't just have a spiritual advisor, but the spiritual advisor might be the end of him, because when the stories came out that he was traveling with this woman and think now as a Trinidadian man, the first thing you think is you're traveling with the spiritual advisor, you know what I mean? Big up you. But it seemed to be nothing like that, you know what I mean? It seemed to be like genuinely he had this woman, the woman name was Pena, right? Traveling with him and advising him on different things he should do. I could read a whole article for you. What day this is? It's from The Guardian a long, long time ago. It said, mystery surrounds prophetess Pena. Who is Juliana Pena? She remains elusive and mysterious to the population and has been labeled as Patrick Manning's prophetess. Prophetess? She was once a member of the Jesus the Light of the World Ministries on Cemetery Street, Heights of Gonapo, Arima. Evangelist Sherlan Furman said that there was a rift and Pena left, taking some members of the flock with her as a flock. Furman said she adios out of tongue. Pena's name is now linked with the contentious church named Lighthouse Ministries of Christ. But there are other facts on Pena. She's a Remian, her family and the Pereiras, and her childhood home is a Rima Old Road. It is located at Stone Straw. I want to get to the part where she was talking to Manning. Where the part gone? They say here Furman said, so Furman is the one from the church where they break away from, right? Furman said Pena started getting prophecy and took it to Manning. The Lord used her to carry messages to him. He sent her to him to guide so she could hear God's voice. He sent her to him to guide so she could hear God's voice. Okay. On the issue of the controversial church, because they had a church she had built in Arima at the time, the church that she built. And the question was around whether state funds was going towards that church and all that, right? So they say on the question of on the issue of the controversial church, Furman said, the Reverend had plans before. There were plans for vegetable gardens and a house on the pastor premises. All that happens was we were in a house and we had plans to build a church over there, she said. The Lord gave us the vision. The middle of the building is glass. That is for the light of the Lord to come in. On the flip side, Furman said Manning was chosen to lead TNT. She also said when Pena was in Africa, she remembered the congregation. Because of our closeness to Manning, we got hampers for Christmas. I get a hamper. Furman said also that Pena got arrogant and that led to a downfall. There was a quarrel between the prophetess Cindy LeBlanc and Pena, so it's prophetess community. Furman said that she had to intervene and quell the controversy by praying with her niece. Furman said that Pena visits her big brother and be like, all right, so I'll get the point, right? Pena was aligned to Manning very, very closely. And Manning come out and say that was his spiritual advisor and so on. In a popular calypso in a palace state of mind, Winston Scarborough inquired Manning, did you get rid of the Obia woman? Some religious leaders have claimed that divine revelation told Manning he should get rid of her, but he hasn't. There have been leaders who said they can confirm her linkages with Manning. One leader has not to be identified, but they said Pena sat on the platform at a religious convention in 2006 in which Nigerian pastor Daniel Ekechukwu, was a special guest. She was on the platform at Woodford Square by special request by the Prime Minister that his friend get a seat. She was representing the Prime Minister after the convention. She even visited Africa. The leader also said that one pastor even had a word for Mr. Manning, that there was a lady close to him and he should be careful. Very, very, I would say very, very Trinidadian. So when you fast forward to this day, that one of the agencies that we're going to need to be working and very, very functional and efficient right now, right, is any security agency in this country, given the poor job we're doing at managing crime in the country, detecting crime, bringing people to justice, preventing crime, deterring people from crime, controlling the borders. I would think that any organization that is built around security here would be a priority, right? There's a given, right? And we have a man who at the head of it, who pulling in the whole church to do the work. Not that anybody in the church can do the work, but it just does not look right. But it fits with our culture because we have a commissioner of police who just saying prayers. I wonder if she passed a Dr. Brown church, you know what I mean? I don't know. But she just going back to prayers every time instead of talking about crime and, you know what I mean? But it's very, very, it's very much a part of our culture. I remember Robinson coming and say he carrying his 2 seats to the PNM versus moral and spiritual values. It's like, okay, well, whose spiritual values? Well, I guess it's yours. You're right to do that. And the idea of spiritual advisors and things seem to be quite the norm in Trinidad. Even most recent, the irony about evangelists. I was talking about Swaggart some weeks ago and them thing. I thought them thing gone through, but evangelists just last week, evangelist Rambabu was in Trinidad, and you see Kamala went and get blessings and them kind of thing. People went to Skinner Park and them kind of events and them ramming. They're talking about entrepreneurship. All you want to get together and make some little church event. Them church event don't bustle. Them church event not like fete and thing. When you see you put them church event and thing, you know, if it's a guilt or, you know what I mean, whatever it is. But people just come out to them events, you know. Them fellas ram out Skinner Park, and then they went and ram out the Savannah. And Kamala went up for blessings and them kind of thing. So it seems to be that the leadership in this country, while the states might be more along the lines of corporations, maybe if forget the corporations and forget the money here, what we really should be working at is understanding who are the spiritual advisors, who are the religious leaders, and then you'll start to see how the country really running. But I mean, all that is above my pay grade, you know what I mean? So I really just here to play songs about work and to wish these children good luck going into the thing and hoping, I can't wait to see Friday.
Time to party. Hey, time to party. Hey, I just want to jump. Don't tell me about work in the morning unless we talking hard work. Wine and jam, wine up on a girl. I say you can't tell me about work in the morning unless we talking hard work. Wine and jam, wine up on a girl. Well, I want to get this off of my chest. Talk about it. All of the girl them whining best. Talk about it. How you want me to leave this fit? Talk about it. Go and sit down behind that desk. Talk about it. Hey, I taking a mental day. I need a little run away. The line it good for me mentally. I taking a little jam. Guys, part of my mental plan. I don't want to go to work. I go put 2 girl in a rental and I'm gone. Tell them I'm gone. Don't even bother calling me. Tell them I'm gone. I say tell them I'm gone. Don't even bother calling me. Tell them, hey. Don't tell me about work in the morning unless we talking hard work. Wine and jam, wine up on a girl. I say you can't tell me about work in the morning want a wine all day. Talk about it. I know I gon' need a breather. Talk about it. Hey, hey. I taking a mental day. I taking a mental day. I need a little run away.
Gotta rub it good for me mentally. I taking a little jam. I do me mental plan. I'm gonna do it. Trinidad and Tobago cocoa shines at international competition. Pause. We want to talk about hard work and diversification and economy and things. And this is what, again, but just how I feel about Carnival and the fact that we play with a multi-billion-dollar industry is the same way I feel about cocoa. Because since I'm smaller here in Trinidad, that's some of the best cocoa in the country. Like, you can confirm that for me, ladies? I don't know. TNT's cocoa continues to shine on the international stage as yet again local farmers have solidified a place among the elite cocoa growers. At the 2023 Cacao of Excellence Awards, which took place on Friday the 8th in Amsterdam, Shankar Tiluksing of Granville, you know, I used to go to Granville all the time, I was a little child. Shankar Tiluksing of Granville, Dulari Ramdat of Rio Claro, and Stephanie Omadine of Brasso Seco all cupped silver in the category of Central America and the Caribbean. The ceremony took place at the Beurs van Berlage. That's on Greek. Amsterdam is that in Greece? That's on Dutch to you. They were in the heart of the Amsterdam at the cocoa trade fair. During the Amsterdam Cocoa Chocolate Week. One day I will learn to read it, maybe when Zachary finished SE. The Cacao of Excellence recognizes quality, flavor, and diversity of cocoa beans from origins around the world. The gold category was won by Costa Rica. Some people from Costa Rica, right, with very hard names to pronounce. Tiluksing, Omadine, and Ramdat shared their thoughts with Sunday Business as well as insights into the local cocoa sector. In the case of Tiluksing, she has a rich heritage beginning with a family cocoa estate of his great-grandparents, which was later passed on. He said, when we took over, there was a downturn in the sector where there was a shortage in labor and in other industry-related issues, but we pushed through. Around that time, Petrotrin, where I work, closed, and I decided to rehabilitate the estate, and I saw it as an exciting venture and a way to continue the legacy of my forefathers while earning a second income. The award-winning beans produced from his estates turned into homemade cocoa using a family recipe dating back to Tiluksing's great-grandparents. His estate produces approximately 350 kilograms every quarter, and within the next 6 months to a year, he wants to double that production. And they went on to talk about stories about that, right? From The Guardian, right? Go and read. But the point I'm making here is that we have consistently in several different areas of Trinidad, because Brasso Seco is nearly as far north as it could get. Brasso Seco is you want to pass Blanchishes on them, right? If I write about that. And then Granville is as far south as you could get. If Granville and them is the one down in the southwest peninsula there. I can't remember. But the moral of the story is it seems as though we have something special going on with cocoa here. Not just the soil and the factors of production that we've been blessed with, right? Not just that, but also some level of expertise and innovation and skill that we could bottle and sell. But again, right where I start off is where I end off this episode, right? Because it seems as though just like how we don't recognize Jumbo as an entrepreneur, maybe until he reached billionaire status, we don't seem to recognize that there's a huge opportunity for entrepreneurship in the cocoa industry. And in a funny way, thank God for Petrotrin closing down, because if it wasn't for Petrotrin closing down, my boy Omadine might never go back into his cocoa field. He have now what you call Omar Beans Organics. You know what I mean? So when you look at the efforts that had to be made to make something that globally recognizable, all of them went and won silver over there. Not just for how they just plant a tree and grow it, but they're turning it into cocoa. Some of them making chocolate, some of them you know what I mean? The cocoa nibs, cocoa powder, a variety of different chocolate, including plain as well as incorporating local spices such as guinea pepper, ginger, coffee, coconut, sorrel, hog plum chocolate, orange and mint, right? And we sitting down on something here. I have some episodes ago where I was talking about going through Wynwood in Miami and just basically seeing a chocolate here. What attracted me to the store is that they was making the chocolates actually what attracted me to the store is greed, right? If you're being honest, it's just being greedy and being a fat guy. But they was making the chocolate in the display window. I was like, but that looking nice. Let me go and see how they do it. I never seen that and I feel like Charlie. You know what I mean? From the chocolate factory. So I went in and I see it. And it just so happened that the name of the store was Ben B. Cocoa. The guy said he learned everything that he learned about chocolatiering, and he was Jewish. If I don't want to misname nobody. I think he was Jewish. Like he from Israel. Like that. I ain't so sure, but and he said he learned everything he learned about cocoa from a guy from Trinidad. I forget the Trinidadian fella's name now. Go back to that episode and you can find it, right? But he was basically saying he learned everything he learned from Trinidad here in terms of how to make chocolate, and he was doing it, what things that I consider innovative, like, well, first giving a lot of samples to greedy people like me, make me feel I have to buy something when I leave. I have to buy some damn thing. I didn't plan to buy nothing expensive. It's ain't cheap enough. But he had like chocolate covered things with passion fruit flavor and chocolate covered coffee beans, all different types of things, just like what they're talking about here. And in I say busy or fashionable district in Miami selling his chocolates. And again, I like that because that is entrepreneurship now. That is the same as Jumbo for me, where you figure out something that you could do, where you could mind yourself and mind your family and hand down something to somebody else who coming after you possibly. And you know what I mean? Even if it's spoils from the industry, you hand down and you just make a way for yourself, which is the essence of entrepreneurship to me. But we don't seem to see the real benefit of cocoa or the real value in it, both in terms of quality that we have and quantity. I'm wondering where the government have all these initiatives to make people better at academics, right? And going back to this idea of common entrance and SCA and how much pressure it is on these little children, and it serves such a limited purpose, right? Such a limited purpose. So you to get a place from primary school to secondary school, when we could have a system of matriculation that allows people just to go to secondary school without necessarily having to do a big life-changing exam. We have the children to be nervous. This big event had to be coming to you at 11 years old, where you had to study a whole year's class and a thing. I used to have lessons every morning before school, lessons after school. Zachary, now you have lessons only Saturdays, sometimes Sundays, tests every day after school. I find it's a lot. And you know what's true too? The fall off between your work rate at SEA level versus what happened in Form 1 is so huge that a lot of people could just get complacent and take years to really get back to the point where they're studying at the level they need to study to pass to get your subjects that you want to get in Form 3 or Form 4 and go on to CXC. The fall off between what you do in O levels or A levels versus what happened in university is so huge. The memorization thing ain't gonna help you. I have a class now with students doing globalization. They're balling. Memorization ain't gonna help them with that. You could learn how much definition about globalization you want. Our school system does not do a good job of preparing people for tertiary education. I don't think it's do a good job in general. If you're lucky enough, or you're so inclined, or you work hard enough, or your family structure is good enough, all them things have to be in place, or the more of those things in place, the better for you, and the higher your chances of success if you pursue a life in academics, which I will say that a life in academics and academic success in Trinidad could well lead to success in several different areas later on in life, right? This is still a country where if you get a good education, you could be good to go. But as much as I look at the youths in this area who do an SCA, who all going to do great, you know what I mean? All the youths I'm looking at in this area, they're living in a house with the mother and father, most of them. The parental unit in the house is strong, even if mommy and daddy ain't home. The siblings and them strong and bright and been through this before and they get support. The community coming together to support them. I have a neighbor, salute to Candace. They had a whole prayer night for Zachary and the other children earlier this week. So the community coming together, salute to, I may know the name of the damn school the boy is going to, but salute to Aquila and Navin and them at the school who take these boys through over the years. And when you look at how much it takes for them to get, and I talk about academic success at 11, so much more thing had to go right for you to get again at 15 and then again at 17 and all the way into the adult life for you to go all through school. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I think it's a great thing. I fail everything I try to do and had to do it twice. Maybe that's why I get through in UE and them thing, because I had to do CXC a few times. I had to do A levels a few times. So maybe I get a chance to sharpen the tool and also get a little more mature too. Because I was one of them who do SCA I had barely turned 11 when I do SCA. I turned 11 in February of 81. and SCA would be the next month. So you're talking about a 10-year-old child going and do this exam and thing, but that same 10-year-old thing had me with a level of immaturity going through Fatima and going through Tranquil, and that I was just young and didn't care and I couldn't connect the dots between the effort you put in and the results you get. I really grew up thinking, is either you're bright or you're not bright. So when I didn't do good at things, I thought I wasn't bright, and so it's useless studying. I didn't understand. But again, so much had to go right for you to do well in academics. We see in every year where it's really just a small percentage of students who doing well in the academics, well enough to go on to several other stages of education. There's another small percentage that could afford to go on to it, even though we have its benefits, or we have benefits in place like gates and so on, which I don't know how long we'll have that for if we still have it. But you have a next percentage who bright enough, who may not be able to at least not do it straight out of school. I have a partner in the school by the name of Sheldon Cummins, one of the brightest men I know in Tranquil. You can't beat Sheldon. Sheldon bright. Sheldon's work hard. I was so glad to talk to him the other day and hear that he finished his law degree and he going on to do, and he was one of them who I was saying, if Sheldon had gone to UE straight out of school, any tertiary education, he would have excelled, extremely bright. But whatever the circumstances are, he couldn't do that then. Grateful that he gets to do it now, and he find a way out. But Sheldon was again bright and academically inclined. But I go back to my little parang I played the other day with a little youth man, right? And I'm watching the youth coming up, and he have SCA coming up. He's 13, he's doing SCA, which indicates to me that he might have been held back somewhere or the other. I was asking Stacey about that, if you could repeat still, because I couldn't understand the age and he now doing it, and she said no, it's not so much repeat, he could be held back and that kind of thing. And I'm watching him. And let's assume, right? Let me take it off for him for a minute. But if it is you're not academically inclined and you had to be held back in primary school to learn basic concepts, I wonder when we will start looking at the education system and say that the child is not the problem and holding them back and putting them through that again is not the issue. And it's also will affect your self-esteem. You will feel embarrassed. You could doubt yourself more. I'm not saying that it might not help some children, because I see a little girl in Mr. Quiller's school last year who would have not get a mark in common entrance come and graduate. I think she passed for her first choice the second time. So you will have people who break through the cracks. So the roads that come through the cement kind of story. But most of the time they're not. And this little boy I talking about here, who are asking him about that and what school he want to go and them kind of thing. What struck me as real interesting in him, and I could see so much promise in this little boy, is that when I started playing music and that little boy shake a marac, I couldn't figure out where this song coming from. They'd be so clean shaking the little marac, and I'm thinking, but this is what they had to teach you. You clearly have rhythm, you clearly have timing, you're clearly inclined to music, because the songs and them I singing is Blakey and them from in the 60s and 70s or whenever. Them song I singing Maria and them kind of song, Thing that he shouldn't have no interest in whatsoever. But he right there shaking the marac, and I had to tell him, I said, no, come in the middle, come by me. I say, anytime I started singing, you come and shake. And the little fella tight. When I start to sing now, he sing, and I go play that song for all you two there, for all the youth who doing the essay too. He come and he started sing Sparrow Education. I said, no, come and sing. I play it along with him and sing, and he know this song, and it tells me something. It's like, okay, your natural inclination might not be to the academics and the school and at least the way it is being taught now, right? Not saying that you can't learn maths and English, but if you're teaching maths and English as direct and mundane and without context as we still teach it in schools, I don't know if anybody could pick up on that. When you're telling me about algebraic expression and so on, and this is X and this is Y, that must be sounding like gibberish to he must be hearing that marac shaking in his head while they're talking about that, because it gives you very little context as to what this thing is going to be used for, what benefit it have for you in life. How does it apply to the thing that you love, which is Kaiso and Calypso and music and shaking your maraca, drumming? And I'm not just saying Calypso or Kaiso, whatever you want to do. I have a little girl as well I admire greatly. I remember her sending me a video of a Kitchener song she sang. I want to say it's Reno Ramo. And when you hear this little girl singing Reno Ramo, she embody Lord Kitchener. She puts on the hat and the outfit and she's doing the dance. And to me, when I see her do that and I sit down with her and I teach her a song, it was a bacchanal, 1950 carnival, fight for so, with invaders and Tokyo, biddy, my friend run and left his hat. when they hit him a baseball bat. Never me again. The jump in a steel band in Port of Spain. Hey, I sing it. I teach her that song, write down the lyrics. And again, when she started writing down the lyrics, now I started to see mistaken spelling. I said, nah, fix that. You have to spell that right. I say if you want to write calypso, you want to write music, and you want to, and she have a different attitude to what her mother and all saying. She have a different attitude now to fixing the word, the spelling of the word, than when they just teaching her English. And I'm thinking, but this is what you have to do with them trend. I understand that she doing dance, she doing SE as well this year, but she doing dance and she doing, and I'm thinking, listen, we had to start with the passion first. I don't have the answers, I never had the answers. I was only come here to ask questions, right? But if we take these children and we start with the passion first, we find something they're interested in first, and then we start to teach them the essentials of life. Like maths and English, I would admit is essential. Little manners and them thing nice, essential, like social studies and a little bit of science so you know how things work, essential. But I think cooking essential, cleaning is listen, I make some peas the other day. Zachary asked me why you make sour peas. Because I see black eyed peas in that and I throw the black eyed peas and try to cook. It tastes horrible. It's only then they tell them, well, you're supposed to wash out them peas. You can't cook that in that brine. Doing a little taxes essential, understanding government services. If we build the education system around what the child already interested in and want to do and love, like the football, salute to Angus Eve and the team, they outside, they headed to Frisco, Texas. I have a funny story to tell you about Frisco, Texas, before I get into the Sparrow song. Zachary come and tell me he and his uncle Barney, salute to Barney, right? Barney is, I want to say, under 17 national coach or assistant coach, something so, right? Definitely the coach at Arima, some school in Arima, right? But Barney and Zachary is the two people I know who know the most about football. You can't ask them nothing about any year. Them know everything about football and which players, who and who, they know everything. And Barney telling me, boy, Zachary real know football. I say, but that's all he's doing. He always on YouTube studying football and this and that and the other, right? So I tell him about that. But Zachary come and ask me, say, you want to go to football with Uncle Barney on the 23rd. I said, all right, so come on, entrance done. You could go to the thing, but you need to tell him about the ticket. Did I tell a little story last week? Maybe I tell a little last week, but you already hear it again. He keep telling me about the ticket. I said, Zachary, we will get the ticket. What happened? It's football. If it's Trinidad playing, I probably go into. Only to find out that neither he nor Barney realized that the game was in Frisco, Texas. So when I see where it is, I said, but wait, Barney is a plane ticket. Barney trying to put me in expense. I started to feel, I was feeling sorry for Barney one time because I said, Zachary going to talk off Barney's face on that flight if he can carry this boy to Frisco, Texas. But salute to the team. Best wishes to them. If they beat Canada, we should be in the Copa America. I hope I understand that well enough. But I want to play this education song before I wrap up and get out of here. You know it?
Education, this is the foundation. Our rising population needs sound education to be recognized anywhere you go. You gotta have your certificate to show, to enjoy any kind of happiness. Knowledge is the key to success. Children go to school and learn well. Otherwise later on in life you go catch real hell. Without an education in your head, your whole life will be pure misery. You're better off dead. For there is simply no room in this whole wide world for an uneducated little boy or girl. Don't allow idle companions to lead you astray. To earn tomorrow, you got to learn today. For employment, yes, employment, you must be intelligent. So it's essential, very essential, to have your credentials. But if you're blockheaded like a mule, education in your head, your whole life will be pure misery. You're better off dead. For there is simply no room in this whole wide world for an uneducated little boy or girl. Don't follow idle companions or you will get burned. To earn, you got to learn. Illiteracy is man's greatest enemy. It's your duty, yes, your duty, stamp it out concretely. Ignorance always in progress. Education saves you much stress. So learn as much as you can. This nation's future is in your hands. Children go to school and learn well. Otherwise later on in life you will catch real hell. Without an education in your head, your whole life will be pure misery. You're better off dead. For there is simply no room in this whole wide world for an uneducated little boy or girl. Don't allow idle companions to lead you astray. To earn tomorrow, you got to learn today. It's a treasure, yes, a treasure beyond any measure. So secure it, just secure it, don't ever ignore it. I said to fight life's battles come morning. Education will light up your way. Without it, you'll never get through. Success or failure, now it is up to you. Children go to school and learn well. Otherwise later on in life you won't catch real hell. Without an education in your head, your whole life will be pure misery. You're better off dead. For there is simply no room in this whole wide world for an uneducated little boy or girl. Don't allow idle companions to lead you astray. To earn tomorrow, you got to learn today. It's imperative.
I live in holiday, you know. I really come here just to say good luck to all the parents who write an SCA for their children. Who belly hurts it. Who feeling all kind of pain and anxiety rising and so on. They can't eat, they can't sleep. I come to say hello to all you and good luck. I come to say all the teachers and the principals and everybody involved who can't eat, they can't sleep, they studying this child and that child, and if they go remember that and they're pushing in the last little bit they could do in the time that they could do it. But most importantly, of course, to all the children who write in SCA, and remember that song Sparrow singing, I was telling that little boy that I said, don't just sing the song, understand what the song mean. And don't let the definition of education have anything to do with this exam only going to write Tuesday. The definition of the education plenty broader than that. But whatever the definition is, as broad as it might be, learn as much as you could learn in this life, because to earn, you had to learn. And it don't matter whether you learn that in school, you learn it in dance class, you learn it in extra lessons. It also don't matter if you learn it at 11 or you learn it at 25. Continue to learn and continue to advance yourself. But the most important thing I want to leave all you with is for you to send this message to all them same parents who are now tank and all them same teachers and principal and everybody who are now tank. You can tell them this for me.
Hey, all hard workers identify. Tell the boss you want a and you need it now. This is getting hotter. You got to cool it round. Somebody pass the water before I catch a cold. Come on in, Mr. Walker. Working hard every day, hustling just for pay. Days go by, nothing's changed. Tell me why it's so strange. 9 to 5 to survive. How can I stay alive? Crazy things happening. Can't you see where we're going? Every day I'm trying and I'm fed up crying now. I really want a break. I really need a break. Every day I'm trying and I'm fed up crying now. I really want a break. I really need a break.
Tell the boss you want a break and you need it now.
This is getting hotter. We got to cool it down. Somebody pass the water before I catch a cold. Come on in, Mr. Walker. I come to make it home. Tell the boss we want a break and you need it now. This is getting hotter. We got to cool it down. Somebody pass the water before I catch a cold. Come on in, Mr. Walker. I come to make it home. Don't wanna fight in here tonight, so tell your crew to take it light. What's the use? There's no excuse. Win or draw, still you lose. Play your games, call your names. I don't wanna feel those pains. So find your friends and make amends. This now and then got to end now. Every day I'm trying and I'm fed up crying now. I really want a break. I really need a break. Every day I'm trying and I'm fed up crying now. I really want a break. I really need a break. Tell the boss you want a break
And you need it now. The exam is over. Catch a call. Somebody. Don't forget Roger Jones was part of that song. I just had to say that before I go. But again, good luck to everybody who's taking part in the exam. Or you have a long break coming up, as Marshall say, you know what I mean? All in the game for the next how much ever months. All you home, you know what we gonna do with all you. I mean, if they turn home and they're taking a long break, you think this podcast could take a long break too and check all you back in September? I don't know. Oh, before I go, you know, there's one more thing I want to say about Jumbo that Jumbo always used to do. It had times back in the day when he used to go in the Oval as a class, right? They used to carry the whole class in the Oval to watch cricket, test cricket in particular. I now realize that they used to use we to follow the Oval, right? So they used to carry us in the Oval to watch cricket. So some days you will see several schools in the Oval saying no. And when Jumbo passing selling the nuts, right, before he leave, he always used to pass by where the crowd, the stands was with the schoolboy stands. And he used to say school, you know, remember he down by the boundary. He used to say school children only want nuts. And he just fling up some nuts for the school children. That's the kind of man he was. I just want to leave you with that.